will we have an opponent for Deontay Wilder before the end of the year?
Yeah, we're working on it. If these guys want to fight, Deontay's willing to fight, but he's not going to be taken advantage of. And what I mean by that, he's not going to deal with these guys that's trying to outprice themselves, that's never had, you could say big purse money, but when they get with Deontay, they want to outprice themselves. And that's their way of saying, that's the modern way of saying that you don't want to fight, I'm noticing. If you never made $5 million, who are you to think you to get $15 million? Mm-hmm. Actually, $3 million is a whole lot of money to someone that never seen anything above that or even something like that. So, things like that are being dealing with. We got to get the proper opponent. We got to get the proper dates, the proper TV dates, networks. So, pardon me. So saying that, obviously AJ has been in the works, hopefully for January, if things play out how it's supposed to play out. And we're trying to get one fight in between that. But if not, it don't matter. When Deontay get in the ring, it won't matter.
Well. Those are the words of Malik Scott as Malik Scott explains the fallout, the fall through of Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz Jr. And as you heard Malik Scott say, well, Deontay Wilder wants a fight before the Joshua fight, now scheduled in January, targeted. But he doesn't want these fighters to price themselves out. Now, I think that's real strange simply because how Malik Scott broke it down, okay? Malik Scott broke it down very easily for everyone to understand. He said you can't ask for money for $15 million when you haven't had 5. And you can't ask for 5 if you haven't had 3. So, my question is, why is it that when Deontay Wilder wanted to fight Anthony Joshua, he wanted 50-50? Now, ironically, that's exactly what Andy Ruiz wants from Deontay Wilder. He wants 50%. He wants it to be fair. He wants 50. And Deontay Wilder doesn't want to give him 50. But what does that sound like? That sounds like back when Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua did not want to give Deontay Wilder 50% of the purse or any type of split. Why? Simply because he wasn't worth that amount of money. Something that they're claiming that Andy Ruiz is not worth to this day. Okay? And the money that they offered Deontay Wilder was way more than they will ever offer Andy Ruiz. For one, none of these guys are champions no more. They're former champions. So, unified former champion Andy Ruiz, former WBC champion Deontay Wilder. And you could chop this up as a string of ego, but let's break it down, okay? Now, we have fight purses from Deontay Wilder, okay? as documented. Purses for Wilder versus Spilka. Wilder made $1.5 million. Spilka made $250K. This was in January of 2016. Okay, Boxing News, July 15th. Wilder $1.4 million. Areola $150K. Okay. Now, these two are from 2016. Let's move on to 2017. Fight purses for Deontay Wilder versus Gerald Washington. Okay, $900,000 to $250,000 for Gerald Washington, February 25th, 2017. Okay. Now, November 4th of 2017, Wilder's purse was $1.4 million reported, and Stavern made $105,600. Now, mind you, this was the rematch, okay, in late 2017. Now, around these times, Wilder started calling out Anthony Joshua. Okay, so after that, money and offers were put in place for Wilder. Okay, and Wilder's first offer from Team Joshua was $12.5 million flat rate. Okay, and Deontay Wilder called that slave wages. Okay, he called it slave wages. Now, we just went from the last 2 years, from 2016 and 2017, then this man has made between 1.4 and 1.5 million, respectfully. One he made 900,000, the other one he made another 1.4. And he calls 12.5 slave wages. But why? Why did he say that? Well, people argue is that he's a champion. And because he's a champion, he needs a split of any kind, of some kind. But then, based on what Malik Scott just said and argued to make his point, why would you give someone that amount of money? Or why should they be obligated or justified to ask you for that type of money when they haven't made that type of money? Counterpunch. See, when you're dealing with expectations versus credentials versus customs, that's what you're looking at. But you can't look at that one-sided. You have to look at that with a double-edged sword. Because the same thing that Andy is wanting, Deontay wanted from Anthony Joshua. And none of them are budging. So for all you Wilder fans out there that says Anthony Joshua was wrong for offering him a flat rate, like Deontay Wilder is doing to Andy Ruiz, remember what he's doing to Andy Ruiz now. See, that's something he should have learned and observed. Like, okay, I feel Andy. Andy is definitely wanting a percentage. That's what I wanted against Joshua. Get it? So now we have Malik Scott in a different position. He's on the A side, him and Wilder, and they're looking at Andy Ruiz like he's stupid. But why? Why is he looking at Andy Ruiz like he's stupid? Andy Ruiz was a champion. It doesn't matter how long it was. Just like Charles Martin was a champion. He wasn't a champion long either. But he didn't get the opportunity to fight Charles Martin because Charles Martin was fighting Anthony Joshua for a lot more money than he's ever made at that point of time in his career. Now, we can talk about 2019. We can talk about 2020 and even 21. But that doesn't matter at that point of time. At that point of time, Deontay Wilder was worth what he was worth based on what he made, based on who he was signed with, based on who his promoters, advisors, managers thought he was worth, and that's what he received. Okay? He was looking for someone to carry that promotion, a bigger star, a bigger name, to make his name more relevant, to make more money. But here's the connecting factor. The connecting factor, the same guy that Deontay Wilder wanted to strong arm or overprice himself to, which is Anthony Joshua, that's where Andy Ruiz got his big break to make the money and to make his legacy where it's at to this day for fighting and defeating Anthony Joshua. So the mutual guy between these two guys is Anthony Joshua. Okay? And Andy Ruiz has made $20 million before. I'm sorry. Andy Ruiz has made $7 million. And then later on, he's made another purse for $13 million. And looking at that alone, Andy Ruiz wants 50% because he thinks he's just as relevant as Deontay Wilder. But the question is he? Well, let's look at it like this. Who would you favor and who would you want to fight between Anthony Joshua in 2019 or 20 or Tyson Fury in 2018 or 2020? Because remember, Deontay Wilder didn't fight Tyson Fury in 19, but that's when he received his buzz and his high pay raise. But why? Why did he receive that? He received that because of the ongoing negotiations at the time with Anthony Joshua. Later on, Andy Ruiz took that money, took that chance, took that bet, and he won. So again, that being said, Andy Ruiz, okay, is a guy that wants 50% from Deontay Wilder. But he was willing to take a risk against Anthony Joshua taking that fight. And he won, and he got a rematch, and he lost. But he still made the money that he's never made in his career. Fighting Deontay Wilder is a little different. And then I'm going to explain why. For one, he's not fighting a champion. He's fighting a former champion. For two, Deontay Wilder is not Anthony Joshua. So here is Andy's problem. Andy's problem is he's trying to make Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua. You can't do that. Okay? You can't ask Deontay Wilder to be Anthony Joshua. And in fact, you can't ask Anthony Joshua for 50% because he would have laughed in your face. He should have took, and he did take, that $7 million, $6 or $7 million, however it was or whatever the amount of money was. He took it, right? So he took the $7 million, took the gamble, fought Joshua, beat Joshua, got the rematch, and made 13 on the rematch. So, that being said, the moral of this story is Deontay Wilder and his team are admitting by default that they are not Anthony Joshua, but they're using Anthony Joshua's tactics from a different level or a different scale. So they should now understand the position that Joshua and Eddie Hearn was in 2018 and 2019, but 2018 in particularly, because they weren't really willing to give a split to Deontay Wilder because he wasn't worth that money. Neither is Andy Ruiz. None of these guys at these positions in time were worth 50-50. Okay? 50% is not what these guys are worth. Nothing more, nothing less. You guys tell me what you think of Malik Scott's breakdown of Andy Ruiz pricing himself out and the comparison to Anthony Joshua stating that Deontay Wilder priced himself out. Please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.